Well, hey folks, it's your old pal King Krampus, and welcome back to Krampus Talk. So I guess the latest thing people are talking about is the fact that Wizards of the Coast has, and their subsequent newest printing of their core rule books, has changed some of the language options to take out things like slavery and stuff like that. And, whether or not I have anything to say about it is basically summed up as, I think I already talked about this a long time ago. This is not news. We knew this was coming. Knowing the specifics, I guess, might be interesting for some just for curiosity's sake, but I mean, we were told this is happening, and really the writing was on the wall that this was going to be the case way back when they first started announcing that they were hiring, whatchamacallem, the people who go over your writing to make sure it's not offensive to anybody. I know there's a term for that, god damn it. Safety consultant? Sensitivity readers, that's it. Okay, so we knew back when they first announced that they were going to be hiring sensitivity readers for everything that was going to be put out from that point onward. That was already a sign that there would be language changes. And since they didn't really quite get away with making a D&D 5.5e, they'll just kind of softball stick some of the changes in just by altering the further printings of these books, which will make the older copies of these books, worth something because it's the unmodified OG original text. So hold on to your stuff. Don't just toss out all your old D&D books. Just put them away and out of mind. We knew they were going to be making language adjustments. It's sort of D&D's thing. They did all this back in the 90s, remember, because people were worried about Satan. But there's this trend, I see it a lot, especially in your film and television YouTubers, of milking a controversy from its birth to, its final release. Several movies I've seen the full cycle go through of people being, oh my god, I can't believe they're doing this in woke Hollywood over the announcement of that a movie is in production. And then there'll be videos and, oh my god, I can't believe woke Hollywood is doing this over, casting announcements, directing announcements, anytime there's any sort of set leak photo of look at Ben Affleck in this costume, it's so woke. Till you finally get up to the pre-release period and the marketing, the trailers, of course. There's got to be something wrong with the trailers, and then the movie itself. And this phenomenon could just as easily be ridden out, with other genres of entertainment, such as role-playing games. If we just weren't doing that in the D&D community at that time, to the degree that's kind of happening now. I guess we have gone to see from the inception of everyone quick scrabble and re-release your OSR games like Pathfinder and whatnot, to then now here at the back end of that, it's those re-releases of Pathfinder to strip all the OGL stuff out of it are leaving people a little feeling abandoned by daddy because drows and owlbears aren't present in the book anymore. Because the thing is yes, that is what D&D is. The vast bulk of the stuff in D&D is public domain shit from real world mythology that you can't copyright. And so all they really have are beholders and drow and owlbears and a few other little things like that. But, you can't copyright dwarves and elves and dragons. Ironically, Dungeons and Dragons itself, those two items are things that you can't copyright and say only we can have dragons or only we can have dungeons. And our fantasy thing. This should once again be a wake-up call that this is actually kind of dumb and cheesy, and maybe we should try something else. But that ain't going to happen, at least not in the numbers that we would all like to see. Those of us who are actually worried about the real health of the role-playing game hobby itself and not just one specific brand. But I don't know, looking back on movies I liked from when I was younger before everything became controversial, there's a lot of things that probably would have been just as controversial back then had the internet existed in its current form in the past. And so at times I wonder if being exposed to this long cycle of people nitpicking everything to death from start to finish kind of spoils it for people who might otherwise have been able to enjoy it for what it was. It's not that all the nitpicking is inaccurate, the bulk of it are valid criticisms. That's the problem. You spend 2 years plus listening to valid criticisms of an upcoming movie and film project or television show, and then when you see it, it's going to be really hard to unfilter that from your brain with every scene that's presented to you on the screen. There is the beginnings of something similar that could emerge within the role-playing game YouTube community, and perhaps we should be a little careful that we don't fall down this same trap. Or maybe we should. After all, this has been quite lucrative for a bunch of channels over the last, 7-8 years? Basically since The Last Jedi came out. So I guess make up your own minds on that front. The jury is out. But back to the subject at hand, the language changes just make it a crappier game, a crappier setting. It makes it even more of a dumbed-down children's game than it already was, because they're trying to market it to increasingly younger audiences, which means it's going to be less appealing to the older people who actually have money. So we'll just see how this all turns out in the long run. But the real secret is all these older copies of the books that do not have the language adjustments, hold on to them, keep them safe. One day, those might bring you a nice pretty penny from somebody who would like to see what the original was like, or own a copy of what the original was like, when they turn back with their own eyes of nostalgia, when they hit their 40s and 50s, and beyond. So I guess that's about it. Until next time. I mean, by all means, get rid of barbarians from your game. That's fine. That'll just mean everyone who likes playing barbarians or running barbarian-style campaigns are going to turn to other games that will give them what they want, such as this.
In the distant future of 1999, Amazon Time Barbarians fight to liberate the women of North America against vast armies of trolls and chads under the control of the Rogan Joe. This original tabletop role-playing game is thick with 2 C's. Available now on Amazon.com and DriveThru RPG.